Hello and welcome to Find Out Nation. I am your host, Jaime.
And I'm your host, Nicole.
And today we are here on we're a day before Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving Eve.
And do we have things to be thankful for?
The fact that it's not January 20th yet?
It is not January 20th. It is, yes, still at least November. So there's...
Can I say this? Yes, it's still November. Exactly. I realized today, because I hadn't really looked at the calendar, because I am not going to be watching the inauguration.
Yeah, shocking.
But I looked at the calendar, right? Like, ooh, there's a newsflash.
Yeah.
It's on MLK Day.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh. Yeah. January 20th is MLK Day. So if that's not like, I don't like, wow.
I have feelings.
Yeah. So, okay. That occurred to me today when I was forward looking at the calendar for work stuff. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
Oh God. Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're 3-ish weeks now. We decided not to record tomorrow because of Thanksgiving. So we're recording today. I have my husband who is monitoring the cookie output in our kitchen.
I like it. What a good
Just
man.
like it's supposed to be in 2025.
That's
the man's in the kitchen and the woman's on the podcast. I love this.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So today
because we're going to stop giving microphones to men.
That's right. Especially
they've had enough of that,
right? Especially old white men, which my husband very much is an old white man. So, indeed. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to talk really quick about a new podcast that I've been watching, and I wanted to see if this is something that you are interested in because I had breakfast with another one of my favorite old white men on Friday. And he recommended a podcast to me called Tangle. Have you ever heard of it? Like, tangle your hair, whatever.
Yeah.
And what it is it's basically two sides to an argument. So they'll take an argument like immigration and they'll present the left side and the right side. And then, they'll give their take on how they feel about the whatever.
Yeah.
I will tell you that it's an interesting speaking style. So here's the other thing that I have noticed because I've been like massively taking in as much media about politics as I possibly can recently. And I will say that there are a myriad podcasts that are, I'm surprised that they get out the door because, like, I can't hear them, or the volume's wrong, or the voice is annoying, or I can't seem to listen to them. And I'm like, okay, so if anyone has those issues with us, can you let us know? Let us know generally, so that we just stop because there's so many of these that I want to be like, oh, girl. Anyway, so the Tangle podcast I really found interesting though because it did give like both sides to an issue.
Okay,
so. Today we're going to talk about the border and like the like what they're calling the border crisis and our future, what is it? Tom Homan. Yeah. The border czar. But I wanted to ask, how do you feel about discussing both the right and the left side on this podcast? I mean, in most cases, I believe that it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do we even present like, this is what the rational right side is trying to say?
No.
Because generally I'm like, it still makes no sense to me, right?
No. And I'm not going to be qualified to speak on it because I think they're fucking lunatics.
Well, I think I for the most part, I think they're lunatics. I mean, I think you and I both know, and you have even said, like, there have been times that we've agreed with, right wing versus left wing.
Yeah, or I could find a common ground with it.
Yeah, exactly. Or I can find, here, I'm moving it so that I'm actually looking at the camera because I realize I'm looking that way and I didn't want to do that. Okay, so anyway, so that's my thing is like, when I think about like the different arguments and the different topics, it's like, okay, let's try and work to understand what it is that their thought process is.
I mean, I have Project 2025 pulled up.
Okay.
And I have the section for Homeland Security pulled up and I've highlighted, like, cause I've gone through different parts of it and like highlighted the most egregious shit for me personally in it. But I still, when reading this, I'm like, I don't know that I could do it justice because I don't agree with it.
No, I don't either. So I don't want to necessarily because here's what I take from Project 2025, which I think Trump has pretty much acknowledged most, if not all, of these points when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the border. So let's just talk about like the border is a crisis. Like we've heard it over and over again. Border is a
Mm-hmm.
crisis, and that like the whole idea is that we need to, what Republicans have been saying is, oh, we need to do mass deportations to get rid of
Mm-hmm.
these illegals who are bringing crime, and they're taking advantage of
And
our system,
drugs.
and they're the ones that
Mm-hmm.
are the rapists and the murderers, and then they're eating
Mm-hmm.
our pets, right?
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
all batshit crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
Republicans are hearing is we know that there are at least a group of illegal immigrants that have either had kids here or they themselves have
Mm-hmm.
become gang members or whatever. I mean, I grew up in the 90s in Kansas City. Like we had problems,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
so they're like, oh, we need to get rid of that problem. We need to address that issue. And it's the illegals that are doing that,
Mm-hmm.
despite overwhelming evidence that talks about how it's not the illegals that are causing
Mm-mm.
like huge. In fact, the majority of illegals are here like to work and they just want to,
Mm-hmm.
live within the
And
bounds of the system. And they all think that Donald Trump is not going to deport them because they're actually like, why would you deport me? I'm a law abiding
right.
citizen. I
Right.
contribute to your economy. I'm a good person. But right wing people are like, well, for every one of those, there's 50 that are out there like perpetrating crime. So we've got to get rid of them.
Yeah. And I mean,
And
right now the numbers are down at the border.
of course,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And
Mm-hmm.
not to mention
But
the
that's
fact
not
that,
that doesn't jive with the story that we want people to believe. So nobody looks it up. Nobody bothers to look it up and like get data and fact check them. But I mean, like the numbers are down. Like when I was looking at it, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Earlier
Well,
today.
so when you look at U.S. Border Patrol criminal non-citizen arrests,
Mhm.
yes, I mean they tend to be at a specific,
Mhm.
level. So in
Mhm.
FY22 they were at 12,000, FY23 is at 15,000, FY24 is at 17,000, which is great. But and this is, by the way, is according to the customs and border protection.gov. So it is like a government website.
Mhm.
But when you actually look at like total crimes, at least in fiscal year 2024, all of our criminal convictions are down. And even
Mhm.
like, so in FY22, assault, battery, domestic violence was at 1,142. In 2023, 1,254. In 2024 is 1,084. So
Mhm.
it's trending down. Our burglary,
Mhm.
robbery, larceny, theft is down 864 to 697. Things like that are all
But it's the
going
fear mongering because
exactly.
it's the fear of the unknown and the other, and that's their bread and butter. It's what they trade in.
Exactly. And so I just don't understand like this idea of, I don't understand how people can be brainwashed to believe that the amount of crime that's happening by these people are just astronomical.
Mhm.
When you look, and this is from a National Institute of Justice article, when you look at overall offending rates by citizenship and documentation status, the
Mhm.
US born citizens all are arrested at a rate of like 1,000 per 100,000 persons, whereas documented immigrants all hover around 800 arrests per 100,000 persons, and undocumented immigrants hover at 400. So less than half of
Mhm.
the number of people of arrests per 100,000 persons for undocumented immigrants. And this is
Mhm.
what kills me is that, if I had been, I guess if Harris had really taken um, the border as a serious issue, which I, 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 I get the idea of, hey, let's approach it from I'm not fucking around with the border either. And you can see that like crimes have
Right.
gone down from
Yeah.
FY23 to FY24. I get it. But at the end of the day, why are we not like having the conversation of, but you shouldn't believe that this is like, it's stupid to think this is such a high issue and is causing such a problem. Because the
Right.
other thing that concerns me, right, is that I heard a statistic the other day that 40% of our entire agricultural workforce is undocumented
Yep.
workers. My mother
Yep.
is like stockpiling vegetables. I'm like, well, that's not going to work. But I mean, she's
Right.
like, well, I'm enjoying them now because in
Mm-hmm.
6 months we're not gonna have people to pick ears
That's
of
exactly
corn. We're
right.
not gonna have people to
Yep.
like,
Pick
yeah. And
strawberries.
so,
Yeah.
right, and so much of like what drives down costs, right, are not having to
Is
import.
yes.
We can talk about tariffs in a minute, but
Yes.
like, it just astounds me that
Mm-hmm.
the conversation has been from the left has been, oh yeah, this is a problem and don't worry, we're attacking it too, instead of, well, we take it seriously because it's part of our job,
Mm-hmm.
because any reasonable adult, whether it's you or
Right.
me or a right winger, is going to say, listen, the appropriate thing to do is to make sure that we're giving people the opportunity to come here and work, and giving them work visas, making more DACA recipients, putting them on people on paths, because we obviously need these people in our economy.
Right.
So we need to put them on paths so that they're coming to this country legally. And if they
Mm-hmm.
do commit a crime, then we're deporting them. I don't think any of us
Yeah. No rational
feels
person is going to disagree with that.
that's
Well,
right.
yeah. And I think that they tend to forget those who won't do their own research, who won't try to figure shit out for themselves. Seeking asylum is not illegal in this country. Seeking
Yeah,
asylum is not
is
illegal.
absolutely not illegal. Absolutely
And
not.
these people are paying into a system that, because they do not have social security numbers, they cannot benefit from.
Yeah.
So this bullshit of they're getting your benefits is a fucking lie. It's a flat out lie. Do basic research. They don't
Yeah.
have social security numbers. They're paying into social security. They're paying taxes. They're doing all these things, and they can't get any benefit from it because they're undocumented and they don't have the necessary means to reap those benefits for those, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I saw
Cuz it's
something now too,
cuz
and I
to
go
your
ahead.
point to your point, it's expensive to go through
Yeah.
the immigration process. I mean the
Yeah.
naturalization process. And
Yeah.
it's difficult and it takes time, and like it's but you are 1000% correct that it is not against the law to seek
Yeah.
asylum in this country.
Yeah.
And it's clear to me, and it should be to anyone, and it will be to,
Mhm.
I think, everyone in 6 months, that
Mhm.
our at least food agricultural backbone is built on the backs of illegal immigrants.
Yep.
And if those go away, I mean, luckily I only eat like cheeseburgers, so I don't give a fuck. But for those, no, just kidding. But for
But
people that actually like to
mhm.
have, fruits and
Mhm.
vegetables,
Well,
or that need them to feed their cows and chickens and shit,
that's exactly
it's
right.
it's expensive. It's gonna drive increase in prices.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
for every single person, I'm sorry, I know I've been talking so
you're
much, so I'm
fine.
going to shut the
You're
fuck
fine.
up
You're
here in
fine.
just a minute.
No, you're
But
fine.
for every single person that's like, no, we need to deport illegal, I'm like, I want to be like, okay, then you go take a job out in a field. You go
That's
do
right.
it.
You go
Cause
work at the local pork processing plant,
yeah,
standing on your feet for a 12-hour shift in blood and guts and stink and disgustingness for 12.50 an hour, and tell me how much you like it.
that's right. And they said that I was reading another statistic, and this is terrible. Like I even joked in our last podcast that I have
Like
to get
being able
better
to
about
cite
like
our sources.
citing,
I know I'm not
yes,
great
citing my
about it either.
sources.
Yeah.
But I heard another statistic that like food no housing, in certain areas we have a housing crisis, and so
Hmm.
much of our building community is built on illegal
Yeah.
immigrants. And so having the house prices are going to increase as well.
Yeah. I saw
Okay,
on the
I'm going to
nightly
shut the fuck
news.
up because I want you to tell me about Project 2025.
Okay. So this is actually, this for me, this is at the end of the section on immigration within the Department of Homeland Security section.
Yeah.
And I had to look this up because I'm like, I don't understand. There's lots of acronyms, right? Because the government loves their fucking acronyms. But
Yeah.
it's talking about the use of blackies warrants and that they should issue a joint internal memo on operationalizing Blackie's warrants for immediate use on worksite enforcement. So I had to look this up. So let me
Yeah,
tell
I'd
you
have to
what
look it
this
up.
is. This is from the 70s, a lawsuit with a company, Blackie's, whatever. But what this is it is a warrant that is a civil search warrant used by ICE to search for illegal aliens at a business. So the warrants do not require that INS name or even describe the allegedly undocumented aliens that they are seeking.
Stop.
It gets better. A raid with this warrant is conducted by barring exits, questioning everyone on site, or discriminatorily questioning those who look foreign or speak with a foreign accent.
I love
That
it.
this is in 2020. It is on page 153 for those who don't believe me. 153. It's the very last bullet point on page 153, that they want to issue Blackie warrants. I
That's
mean,
crazy.
it's talking about, you know, curtailing a mass migration event, which is not happening. We haven't had a mass migration event, I don't think, since before COVID, where
Yep.
like literal masses of people are trying to come in.
No.
That
Because,
it's like,
sorry,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you're
No,
okay.
so
I'm just looking through it.
because here are some of the things that I've heard recently that they've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, mass deportations,
Mm-hmm.
utilizing local law enforcement or
Mm-hmm.
not utilizing local law
Mm-hmm.
enforcement and instead using like the National Guard,
Guard.
right? Which is terrifying.
And it says in,
Militarizing the border.
yeah,
So actually like Germany, East German style
yeah,
militarizing, or I'm like, it's so terrifying. I'm thinking like, Vietnam, like
yeah.
Korea, like
Mm-hmm.
literally,
Mm-hmm.
militarizing the border, reopening and expanding detention centers, which I'm I'm interested to see what the children parent thing is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Eliminating visa categories and eliminating people who qualify for the visas that they
Mm-hmm.
are already putting out there. So like dreamers,
Mm-hmm.
killing those. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these work visas that we
The
grant.
H-1B visas. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what's the opposite of expand? Making them whatever.
Like decrease it.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then again, like, uh, and then forcing people to show, to your point, that they're eligible to work by making it more difficult for them to prove their work status at certain
Yeah.
jobs and certain places
Yeah.
to work.
I mean,
And what? Yeah, go ahead.
I just can't imagine working someplace and like all of a sudden here come the feds
Oh,
and
I
we're
know,
locking the doors
I
and no
know.
one gets to leave until you have proven your status. And like it does talk in here about mandating that ICE use all detention space in full compliance, issuing weekly reports on detention capacity, and providing authority for low level temporary capacity. For example, tents is in parentheses
I love
once
that.
permanent space is full.
That's great.
Like I saw on the news that there is a section, a chunk of land in Texas, that is potentially going to get turned over to the Trump presidency. I don't know what to call it, so that they can use it to start building barracks
Oh my
to
God.
house
So
immigrants.
So that's my thing is like, I again, I don't think anyone reasonable does not agree that if someone's here, like if someone comes on their work visa and
Yeah,
stays and they
overstays it.
happen to
Yeah.
get stopped by the police for something else and you find out that they
Mm-hmm.
are whatever, okay. And I do understand like people who stay and they get married and they build lives and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it is devastating. I can't
Mm-hmm.
imagine, but I also like, there are laws, like
Right.
we are a lawful country, and at the end of the day, like we should follow the laws that we have within this country. And
Which,
I literally, yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Which, to your point, then becomes the progressive part of this is why we need to make it easier to become a citizen.
That's
It
right.
shouldn't be this expensive. It shouldn't be this difficult to become a citizen.
It shouldn't take
And it
years and years and
is.
years. Yes.
Yes.
So I have a girlfriend who, she had married someone who was an immigrant. He got deported, and so she like moved down to the border so that she could be near him. he ended up being a piece of garbage, and she divorced him, and she's super hot and better anyway. So we love her, especially because I know she watches this podcast. But at the end of the day, like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Regardless, like, I mean, they waited, I mean, years and years
Yeah.
and years to try and get a decision on a case for him. And it's like, at the end of the day, so when I was reading when I was listening to Tangle, which was about this topic, they said basically the same thing that we are. No reasonable adult's going to say, of course, breaking the law is fine. They should be able to break the law whenever they want. Like, no reasonable person's going to say that.
No.
Of course, if someone is here illegally and they've broken a law to be here illegally, and regardless, like, they need to go through the legal process to regain entry and that's fine. But at the end of the day, like, the process needs to be improved. If you see this type of scenario, it's not, we need to militarize the National Guard to fucking kick these people out. It's obviously because it's not like our economy and our country can't support, because we do now. We rely on these people now. And so, like, we clearly need the ability to, like, have a workforce that is willing to do some of the jobs that, like, they do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, what that means is expand the visa programs, improve the, path to naturalization, make it less expensive and more affordable. Like as Democrats, why would we not
want that?
Be having that conversation?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
why would we not? Like, it's fine to say, hey, we agree with you. There's a problem and we're going to continue to fight that problem.
Yeah.
But why would we also not say, but you guys rely, hey, Karen, you rely on this person to do this thing.
Yeah.
Like, are you sure you really want us to deport them all?
Right. On the bottom of page 150, it talks about the H-1B reform. And it says, transform the program into an elite mechanism exclusively to bring in the best and brightest at the highest wages, while simultaneously ensuring that U.S. workers are not being disadvantaged by the program. H-1B is a means only to supplement the U.S. economy and to keep companies competitive, not to depress U.S. labor markets artificially in certain industries. Along with the legislative proposal, take regulatory action to limit the classes of aliens eligible for work authorization. So we're going to decide whether you are worthy enough of an H-1B visa. And my other part for this too is, for everybody that's like, yeah, deport the Mexicans, it won't stop there. So when your favorite Chinese restaurant shuts down because they've gone in with a Blackies warrant and shut it down, this is just the beginning, folks. It won't just 100%. Be the brown skin
100% correct.
People.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right. It won't just, to your point, be the brown skin people.
Yeah.
Well, and this idea of like mass sweeping of neighborhoods is terrifying. That's the other thing that terrifies me.
Yeah.
Is like this. I mean, to be like just hanging out in your neighborhood and have the feds come and like be able to arrest, through, I mean, that's such militant thought, such militant thinking that I'm not understanding. I don't know. I don't understand how people can think that way, I guess. And the fact that so many immigrants voted for Trump is surprising to me. And I don't know if, again, I know that, at the end of the day, they did not think that it was going to affect them, but I think they're going to find out that it is
they're
going
to find out different. Yeah. I mean, at the bottom of page 148, it's talking, about asylum reform. And section 3 of that says Congress should eliminate the particular social group protected ground as vague and overbroad, or in the alternative, provide a clear definition with parameters that at a minimum codify the holding in matter of AB that gang violence and domestic violence are not grounds for asylum. So you can't come here and say, I'm from Mexico and my country is riddled right now with gang violence and I fear for my life. I'm seeking asylum in the United States and be let in. It will no longer be allowed.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm They bring up
It's
tents
batshit crazy is what
twice.
it is.
Oh. It
Anyway,
says my
okay.
camera's having
Well,
issues. I don't know what's happening.
that's all right.
Okay.
It'll be, for the 3 people that probably are going to watch this, they'll be fine. They won't care.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I hope that maybe we will see a reform in the future of how Democrats speak on this.
Yeah.
Because again, I think this idea of just saying, "Oh yeah, you're right," and we're going to keep trying, or on the other hand, just being like, "Well, we're going to do what we've always done, but we're not going to address it," when clearly it's become a topic.
Yeah.
That's not probably the best way to go, and probably not how we
No.
should have dealt with it the first time. So, yeah, I feel like
But it's
it's
kind of,
probably not a bad thing for us to,
yeah. But I feel like it's kind of
address it
part of what we
differently.
talked about on our first episode, is that this is part of the soul searching the Democratic Party needs to do. This is
Exactly.
how you need to revamp how you're going to get that message out in 2 years when it's time for the primaries. Like,
That's exactly
because
right.
you're
Well,
losing
and
people.
that's right. Cause you and I talked about it. Like, you can't just bury your head in the sand and not respond to things, because you're missing a lot of, and don't, again, you've got the far left people who will never vote for the right. You have the far right people that will
Yeah.
never vote for the left. We know that exists today. But at the end of the day, like, there's still clearly people in the middle that need to be
Yeah.
talked to. And at least some of them really think the border's a big deal, because we heard over
Yeah.
and over and over again that the 2 issues that came up and the reason people voted for Trump were the economy and the border.
Yep.
And his plan for the border is really crystal clear. His plan for the economy, not so much. But his plan for the border has been the same, whether you believe Project 2025 or not. He has never wavered on what he believes on for the border. Like, that has always been the case. And so at the end, which I still really struggle with the why, but that's a whole different story. But at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. And so us not addressing it as an organization, as a group of citizens, is just asinine to me. So I am with you.
And
I hope that this really is part of the Democratic soul searching, for sure.
Yeah. And I think they need to understand that, like you said, the far left and the far right, but then we had a huge group of people that didn't vote at all still this year.
Well, that's
And
exactly it.
or voted Jill Stein or whatever. And those people are who the Democrats need to put. Like, you don't just get my vote because I've always been a Democrat when you're out here not working your ass off for my vote. And there's people that are willing to not fucking vote because you can't reach them. You're not reaching them. That's what they've got to do this soul searching for and figure. Like, the Democratic Party should not be losing immigrants.
No.
They should not be losing immigrants ever, because the Republican Party has never given 2 shits about immigrants. So the fact that they lost
they hate
immigrants
them.
is huge. Like,
that
it alone is a wake-up call.
That's right. It is clear when your response to immigration is militarize a group to arrest them and deport them versus let's expand dreamers and visas and give people more of an opportunity.
Right.
When those are your 2 options, it's clear which group cares about immigrants more and actually embraces immigration.
Yeah.
But when immigrants are saying, well, but because Trump values the economy so much, he wouldn't be stupid enough to deport me. And I'm not doing crimes, so
I'm not
I don't have to worry about getting deported, which I genuinely believe is how a lot of, especially right now, undocumented people are feeling, especially if they voted for Trump. Then, I mean, at the end of the day, like, why would they believe that? Why are we not saying you're crazy, vote for the party that wants to take care of you? It's because this party is not talking about taking care of them. Yeah. Exactly Trump's talking about totally fucking deporting them, but it's not like our party saying, you know what? We do want to take care of them. And again, this is the Democratic Party playing it fucking safe.
Yeah.
We're going to be safe. And so that's what drives me crazy about the Democratic Party. We talked about this in the last episode. that the Democratic Party has all turned into a bunch of pussies. And they're like, well, if the Republicans are talking about the border, well, they're really like, they've got a plan. And, but okay, but how do you feel about it? Because at the end of the day, like, it's not like Kamala Harris did nothing about the border. It's not like Biden did nothing about the border. They were very specific about like taking action against illegal immigrants and that sort of thing. But their actions were like a fourth of what Trump wants to do. And when all everybody's telling you is, yep, there's a problem at the border, there's a problem at immigration, and the problem are immigrants, illegal immigrants, like, okay, I mean, then you're going to lose. You're going to lose on that point.
Yes, you're going to lose. I mean,
yes,
they want, top of page 143, Congress should mandate and fund additional bed space for alien detainees. ICE should be funded for a significant increase in detention space, raising the daily available number of beds to 100,000.
Yeah.
Daily number of beds available. Yep. And that Congress should fund ICE for at least 20,000 ERO officers and 5,000 OPLA attorneys to fight this illegal immigration. Like, they're not prepared for it, James. No. They're not prepared for it.
No. But this is why
nobody bothered to do research before they voted.
I know. Well, anyway, so I got to say, like, yes, the plan for Trump, the plan for Republicans is batshit crazy. I think it's going to have a detrimental effect on our economy, our agriculture. I mean,
if you thought your groceries were going down, they're not.
They're not.
They're not. Your eggs are going to be even higher than they are right now.
That's right. But beyond all of that, and I feel like that has been kind of our message from the beginning, is like, not only are Republicans batshit crazy, but how disappointed am I in the Democratic Party that the way that they handled this. So again,
and are still continuing to handle it.
No shit.
Why are you not in front of the cameras every damn day saying what I'm saying on page 142, on page 153? This is what is coming. This is what, and guess what, guys? We can't do anything about it because they just swept all three branches of government come January 20th. But Biden, this is the other part that pisses me off because he does have time to do something.
I know.
I do believe he could do some stuff now that
he absolutely
would make it hard for them they would have to unravel it. Like, it may not be set in stone. They may not be able to not undo it. But
he could increase the number of work visas tomorrow.
Yes.
And he could use, like, he could use their rhetoric against them, that this constitutes a national emergency. Republicans have been saying it forever. It's a national emergency. So we have to make sure that the good immigrants, the good illegal immigrants that want to become citizens have a fast path to that. So let's expand all of our work visas. Let's expand all of our DACA, our Dreamers. You know, let's add 50,000 people to that department so that whatever. To your point, he has almost a mandate that says Republicans are saying this is an emergency. So use your presidential power and get something in right now. But he's too much of a pussy, as is the rest of the Democratic Party, to do anything of the sort.
We're just sitting on our hands, acting like there's nothing we can do.
That's right.
We're just going to sit on our hands. Like, where the fuck is Hakeem Jeffries?
No shit.
Where are you? What are you, like, I don't understand.
They're on break.
It infuriates me. Yeah, literally. It's like they just wash their hands of it.
That's right. I just do not. I just can't fathom. I don't understand. I can't fathom this. And so, to your point, not only is it disappointing that this is like the way that it's going to go with Trump, we know it is. We know mass deportation. We know mass detention centers. All of that's going to happen. But in addition to that, the Democratic response is just.
Exactly.
You're right. They probably can do it better than I can. Like, that's literally what the response has been in my mind. At least as a just, middle class American voter, that's how it looks like to me. So if you're, it's funny at my company, we talk about all this advertising we do. And I'm like, I watch Real Housewives a lot and I don't see any of our advertising. I watch Saturday football, Sunday football. I don't see our advertising. Like, I watch television. I watch television with commercials and I never see advertising. And so I always have to tell these people, like, I get you think that you're really doing a lot to advertise, but if I'm not seeing it, like, who's seeing these things? If I, as a middle America I mean, shit, I got a pumpkin patch on my as a
Right.
middle of
Yeah.
America voter. If I'm
Mhm.
not getting the message, nobody else is either. So if you
Yeah, if
think
I'm
you're
not seeing
giving a
that
better message,
mhm,
you're not.
you're not. Yeah, so if I'm not seeing that advertising during Saturday college football even once, it's not reaching the masses.
That's right. It's not reaching the people that you're trying to reach. And
Mhm.
so I would say the same thing to the Democrats. Listen, this is nobody is hearing whatever message you're trying to put out. So you need to
Mhm.
fix that.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I know it's people get sick of like the political ads during our election years, but start running them. Start saying, this is like, you got
Well,
to do something for the
do
love of
something.
Christ. Do
Because
something.
that's the thing is that if this was reversed and Mitch
Mhm.
McConnell came in and
Oh.
oh, we've got 2 months left and like did some sort of crazy fucking thing
Mhm.
to all of a
Mhm.
sudden like do something to solve the problem, not only would everybody know about it, because you
Yeah.
would know about it, I would know about it for
Yeah.
sure. It
Yeah.
also would be like all over the news. It'd be all over Daily Show. It'd be all over,
Yeah.
all these different places that people
He'd
regularly
be
go to.
having press conferences
Right. And so
himself
to your
about it.
point, like,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't have to necessarily be a political ad because people are fucking tired of political ads.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like a political ad is just a response to do something about it and to show
Yeah.
I'm doing something about it.
Yeah.
It would go a long way to make a difference
Mhm.
if you ask
Mhm.
me. So who
Yeah.
knows?
Instead, we're going to wait for 2 years and then we're going to expect black women and whoever
Yep.
else to bail us out again.
That's right. That's exactly right. We're going to rely on the people that we've just expected their votes in the past. So
Exactly.
here's a comment to all of those Democratic, politicians and their
Yeah.
staff. Get a fucking
Yeah.
different message and say it better. And Joe
Yeah.
Biden, you have 2 months to stick it to him. Fucking stick
Yeah.
it to him.
Why aren't you?
Do
Yeah.
something. Yes,
What do you
do
have to
something.
lose?
That's
Like,
right. What do you have
Jesus.
to fucking lose? It's
Yeah.
exactly right. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think we should end it on this note.
Okay.
I appreciate
We'll
you.
get to the tariffs at another time.
That's exactly right. But I do appreciate you like very specifically citing where people can
Oh,
find
yeah.
these fucked up
Oh, yeah.
policies in Project
Yeah.
2025.
In
Like I just
Project
read an
2025.
article that was
Yeah.
like, here are the highlights. And you're like,
Mhm.
no, on
Here's
page
the fucking page.
143 at the
Yeah.
bottom of the page, it says, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh God, she's pissed.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
pissed.
And when we want to deep dive into health, let me know because my shit's
Oh,
already highlighted. I'm ready to go. And when we get ready to deep dive into tariffs, I will go through it and I will, yeah. Yeah.
indeed. Yeah, we have to figure out what we're
Mhm.
going to talk about next time. Regardless, I hope
Yeah.
everybody, including yourself, Nicole, has a lovely,
You
safe,
too.
and
Yes.
healthy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Try to find a green, beacon of hope somewhere
Yes.
that you can be thankful for. I know
Yes.
I myself am thankful for you and us being able to have
Oh,
these times together because,
agreed.
as
Yeah.
women, who knows how long that's going to last? You never know.
Exactly.
Mark,
Exactly. It's keeping
I
us
got to
sane
tell you,
right
every
now.
time I talk to Mark, he's like, well, you're the woman. And, in January, I get to start doing da 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 da. Like, get
Oh
to
God,
telling you what
Jamie
to
tries
do.
the same thing.
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
you're
no, because
hilarious.
yeah,
You're
I think yeah,
hilarious.
it doesn't work in this house.
AJ
I
wanted me
know.
to buy something. And I was like, no, I'm not buying you that thing. And Mark goes, well, in January, you're not going to have a choice because he's the man. I'm like,
Well, in
okay,
January you won't have a credit card anymore, so you
that's
won't even
true.
be able to bank anymore. It's going to be
Indeed.
1970 all over again. It's fine. Like, but you're also not going
True.
to have a job, so Mark better might rethink that whole retirement thing that he's kind of contemplating.
Well, like that is true. I've made the comment often that like at the end of the day, I'll probably be fine because I make enough that
Yeah,
I can like whatever.
yeah, yeah.
But, one of the things Doge is really looking at is
Yep.
eliminating my industry. And that's a little
Oh,
terrifying.
yeah,
So
yeah. It is.
we'll see what
Yeah,
happens. So
fucking Doge.
I know maybe we'll talk about Doge next week
Okay.
because
Yeah.
I'm bitter about Doge.
Yeah,
I have
well,
feelings.
it's a made up bullshit thing
Okay,
because
but
millions and
here's
gazillions
here's
of
why I'm
dollars
bitter.
were
Okay,
donated.
but here's why I'm bitter is because if there ever was a department in the government that I would want to be a part of, that I would like
true.
leave in, it would be this. Like, this is the thing that I do. And the thing that I love to do is find inefficiencies and figure out ways to make things better and figure out how to like eliminate, reduce costs and, you know, all, and so like,
all that.
I believe in Doge so much, and to have it run by these two nut jobs. And then
by someone who's not a natural born citizen.
Indeed. And then to bring in Marjorie Taylor Greene to work for Doge makes me want to scream. So we'll talk about Doge next time. Just know I have a lot of feelings about it. Be prepared, I guess.
I don't know how much. You. Yeah. No, that's fine. Cause I don't even know how much of that. I'll have to see how much of that is even in 2025. Cause I feel like he just made that shit up on the fly.
I think
over
so
the
too.
course of the election with Ramaswamy and Musk. So
yeah, I think so too. I think he totally made that shit up 100%. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Well, thank you all for listening.
Hopefully you have enjoyed
this episode. Again, like, subscribe. If you really want to piss somebody off during Thanksgiving dinner, feel free. And in all fairness,
just play it.
Exactly. Just play it. Like, have it on in the background. And I feel like you could piss off both your Republican and your super liberal, like, uncles. So, because I mean, we've done plenty of dogging on Democrats at this point. So I feel 100%. Like we are equal opportunity. We're there for you to piss everybody off. So when you're done and you're like, I don't want to have dinner with these people anymore, I just want them to go home, turn on our podcast. I'm pretty sure it'll do it for you.
It'll clear your house.
It'll clear your house. Exactly correct. So it's just a thought. It's just a suggestion.
Yes. Yeah. Right. We're just here to help.
Indeed. We're here to help. We're here for you guys is what we're here for. Exactly right. So anyway, thank you all for joining. Thank you all for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Please subscribe and please share this podcast so that we can get some views and actually have people watching us.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.